So I woke up at like 6:30 on the morning of Friday, and that was just not great. So I spent like the whole morning on Twitter and Facebook. I spent more time on Facebook that day than I think I have in the past 6 months. But then Kerry came over. You remember Kerry? Again, I forgot to film anything with her because I'm terrible. And we walked the dogs, one of our other friends came over, and then Aiden turned up, and we all had a really good time. And we talked for hours, like really late into the night. And it was good, you know, to really talk everything out with them, and all of us expressing our kind of frustration and our sadness and disappointment and some fear a little bit, you know. And at first when I saw the results, I was so angry. A lot of the commentary that I was reading was also that angry. But my weekend was so great. It was so strange, this kind of disconnect between the country at large and my individual life. And I realised, I think, around about the time that I first started seeing stuff about Leave voters feeling so duped and so tricked. Like, there were some comments that someone screen capped from the Daily Mail website that were like, why didn't you tell us any of this before? We should have known this. You should have told us this before we cast our votes. We should have been told what was gonna happen, the realities of the whole situation. Why didn't you tell us? And I kind of, you know, there's no point in directing anger at the voters. The anger should be directed at the people who manipulated them and who stoked those fires. Literally the morning after, the morning the results came in, before they'd even been finalised, you know, campaign politicians like Nigel Farage were withdrawing the promises. You know, oh, this won't actually stop immigration. We're not actually going to spend that money on the NHS. And you know, while at first I'd been kind of vindictive, like, great, nice one, guys. You ruined everything. You had one job. You know, that turned really quickly into me just being sad and disappointed and pissed off at the politicians and at the media, not the people who voted. Especially because I know that there were a lot of Remain campaigners that came off as really classist and snobby. And while that's something I never wanted to be, I think it's something that I probably was at times. And I can't really blame anyone for getting pissed off at Remain voters and Remain campaigners who were so holier than thou and high and mighty about it all, you know? And especially people who say that anyone who voted Leave or was thinking of voting Leave, that they were all uneducated and idiots, and that they were all stupid, and that they were all racist, and all of this bile, you know? Just turning people against each other. I can't blame anyone who would be pissed off at that. Nobody likes being told that they're stupid, especially not by people that they feel are looking down on them. And then obviously you have papers like the Daily Mail and the Sun spreading vitriol and hate day after day after day, and, you know, all the time this message that you can't trust politicians in charge, you can't trust the experts, you can't trust Project Fear, you can't trust anyone, really, who isn't voting the same way as you can't trust anyone who's pushing an alternate view, you can't trust anyone who's bringing up statistics and trying to intimidate you and trying to make you feel stupid. And in that situation, why would you want to believe anyone who isn't obviously on your side? Hey, there's a magpie. And you know, you had people like Boris Johnson making these promises he knew he wouldn't be able to keep, playing on people's fears, playing on their insecurities, manipulating them, and all of this for power. Just like it was for power when David Cameron, you know, promised that this referendum would happen. He didn't do that because he thought it would be a good idea. He just wanted voters that he thought were going to be taken by UKIP. He wanted to be back in power. And I don't think that all Leave voters are idiots or racists or anything like that, but you can't deny that this has been a huge boost to the ones who are. Like, look at this huge spike in hate crimes that has been happening, and it's, you know, to the point where people are going to wear safety pins as a visual indication that they don't support that kind of violence. Can you believe that it's gotten to that point? That this idea could gain traction, that you would have to wear something to demonstrate that you're not okay with beating people up for being from another country? So I have no idea what's going to happen now. Does anyone? Really? Like, I think I'm probably an idiot for believing that maybe there will be a second referendum, or that, you know, something will happen that will just stop this whole mess. It feels so surreal to be going on like business as usual while our government eats itself alive, and our future is so uncertain. On a happier note, last week Aiden went on a course with everyone else who was on his course. They went to some hotel and they stayed there for 5 nights, and he won a prize. Out of everyone there, he won the prize for best presentation, which personally I find hilarious because he was really worried about giving this presentation. Like, I went through and, you know, proofread it all for him, and he gave the presentation to me a couple of times to make sure that it was under 5 minutes or whatever it was. It was adorable, and he won the prize. The prize, by the way, was a £20 Waterstones card, which he gave to me, so who's the real winner here? I think you'll find that it's me. And with that card, I went out and bought yesterday, was it yesterday? No, I went out and bought on Monday this postcard book, where you have, like, you colour in the postcards yourself. And I've started on the first page because I told Kerry about the fact that you can buy books like this to buy postcards that you colour in yourself, and she was like, this is amazing, we should definitely do this. So, I'm on it. I've gotcha. Whew! Okay, I'm gonna leave this on a happy note so that I don't sink into a pit of despair. See you in the next video!